Crackers on or off?
What's for dinner, Mom?
We have to make this episode as long as possible.
Scene one, take one.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Benji.
Hi, Jessie.
Oh my gosh, we're doing this. I'm really nervous.
I'm nervous too. I'm sweating. I was sweating and now I'm continually sweating.
Me too. And I keep looking at my crackers like they're going to give me some support and then nothing happens.
Food as emotional support.
Okay, well, shall we get to it?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, welcome to the Leisure is Living podcast, where we talk about life beyond the grind, explore how we play, and rest, resist, and reconnect with what actually matters. I'm Jessie Jones, your resident recreation therapist and curious question asker. Who are you?
Oh, it's my turn now. My turn. Hi, my name is Benji.
Hi, Benji.
My pronouns are they, them. I am the co-host, co-creator, and passionate banterer. We're broadcasting today from JJRT, front room, which is in the middle of a transitional state, and it's through and through. So is JJRT.
Oh my gosh. Do you feel like, though, JJRT is always in a transitional stage?
Yes, yes.
We were just talking about that earlier today. That
When does it stop
when
transitioning?
does it stop?
Never.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Benji. I think I introed myself.
That's really good. You did a very good job.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
did you.
Well, it's really nice having you. I'm really happy. I feel like we need to be closer together today. We're quite far apart.
Yeah, I feel like we're in one of those. Do you know those like giant mansion things with like they have the really, really long table of like the royal, like it's how the royal family eats dinner, and they're like a kilometer apart from each other, slowly eating dinner in awkward silences.
Yeah, and it's
That's
like
what that reminded me.
yeah. I know what you're saying, and I feel like that's a great depiction of what is happening right now. But to keep us on track,
Yeah.
because let's talk about this first episode. This is a soft release. I previously tried to launch the Leisure is Living podcast.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it was a fail, but it was definitely in my closet and not good.
It was the origin of this. It had to start from somewhere.
It started. And like I said, it was me hiding in a closet. I'm not kidding. With a mic and these like shabby little headphones. And I was whispering and it was awkward. And anyways, I'm really happy that I get to share this moment, this soft launch with you. So this first episode is special. We're hopeful that it's going to be raw, real, and a bit rebellious, wouldn't you say? There's no guest today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the heck this show is going to be about. But it is us laying the foundation of what this podcast will be. It's a space for deep, soulful, soft, hilarious conversations about leisure, because leisure isn't fluff. What is it?
It's fuel. Did I nail my cue?
I love how you were right on point with that. It is fuel. I truly believe that. And I think all of us here at JJRT believe that. So we are winging it a bit today, aren't we?
Yes, it is about to get chaotic. It has already been chaotic, and we will just continue with that energy.
I love that. Yeah. Good. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. I think that's great. So let's just take it from here. Okay. So what is Leisure is Living? Let's talk about this. When I first launched Leisure is Living, it was kind of, a very hot mess. Like I've already mentioned, it was done in my closet. One rogue episode recorded. So this is the full reset. And if we're looking at the patterns that JJRT has been exhibiting lately, we'll learn very quickly that we have been doing a bit of a radical reset. We've got the Radical Reset series. We're doing the Leisure is Living podcast now. And I guess with this full reset, my question for everyone is, and for myself, what is the intention now? Like, what the heck are we doing and why are we doing what we do? So I think I'll answer it by first saying that it is to explore leisure as a political, therapeutic, cultural, and deeply personal force. I really want to get the message out, and tell me if you agree with this, that leisure is not just about self-care. It's real care. Like, truly real, to the point that if everybody subscribed to the act of leisure as a tool,
Yeah.
I think we would ultimately be better as a society.
I have definitely like, I think sometimes we think of leisure in like this idea of like, or like self-care as just being like, if we self-care, that means that we can be more productive. If like that's the end goal, is like this productivity versus like, no, leisure is just,
It's not a means to an end.
it's not a means to an end. It just is. It's just when you're allowed to just be and you can just exist as you are and explore and create and connect and be curious. And that's the point. Like that's the point. It's not a means to an end. And is I think what we're trying to do is just like take leisure out of this capitalist mindset, where productivity is always the end goal, and we're just looking at leisure for the sake of leisure.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And that is what we're doing.
I got goosebumps.
Did that feel good?
I did feel good. And I'm
Okay.
just looking down at, so we do have a script, but you and I have already talked about how it's just there to be a good invitation and prompt.
Yeah.
But what I do love about what it says next, and it's under your section, is that the podcast is a resistance to hustle culture and the celebration of slow, which you've brought up about leisure not being a means to an end. If that's like the gift that we could give at JJRT to people, is how to wield that tool. Man. Okay. So we're going to basically invite people onto the show. We're going to talk with artists, therapists, creatives, rebels, people who are challenging norms by living differently.
Like that.
It's so exciting. And I think the big twist is that each episode, one of us will bring in a surprise guest.
Yes.
So the other won't know until we hit record. And for folks out there who are listening, if you're familiar with the incredibly funny and intelligent podcast Smartless, think that, but with more social justice and fewer mansions.
I have to listen to that one. And better hair. And far better hair.
Because it says it. And you have great hair.
Thank you. I just got a haircut. Leaning into a mullet.
I often say that your cool level is too cool. I actually feel inferior to your coolness.
I look at coolness as just like an extension of play. And when we just get to play, then we just lean into like what authentically makes us tick and brings us joy. And this haircut brought me joy because it's fun and weird, and just embracing fun and weird
It's
right
so
now.
good though. And the mullet is in.
I like that it's both things, that
It
I can
is.
have long hair and short hair. And I don't want to choose one.
I love that. It reminds me of when our social worker, Erin, was in, and they told me that they'd woken up and decided that they wanted to wear a cape. Oh. And I was like, oh. And like the question came into their head about like, is it okay to wear a cape? And the question was answered with, yes, it is okay to wear a cape. And they came to work on a cape on.
Oh,
Like,
fantastic.
Come on. That's so
Unless
good.
you're Edna Mode from The Incredibles, and then it's no capes.
No
Never capes. But I think a cape is a fantastic look.
I think so. Well, because we don't have a guest today, I thought we could do a little rapid fire. What do you think?
Love it. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to ask each other some questions. You and I both don't know the questions we're going to ask each other. So this is off the cuff. So
Are you going
Benji,
first? I'm being asked questions. You go first, and then we'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, here we go. I do have a really good question for you.
I'm nervous and excited.
What's a leisure experience that completely changed your perspective on life?
That's a great
I know.
question.
I told you.
What's a leisure experience that radically changed?
Well, it could be
rapidly?
radically, but completely changed your perspective on life.
I used to do this thing when I was just like going through a really hard time, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. And I used to take myself on, and I still want to continue this practice, but taking myself on dates. And I would just be by myself for like a good chunk of time. And I would go do a thing and just take myself out. And so I would tend to go on hikes. That was like my go-to date. And I would find a little space where I put down a picnic blanket and I would just have a picnic with myself. And there would be like little snacks and like and I would do art. I would bring like markers and pencil crayons.
I love it. I'm sorry. I'm just like perma smile because the whole time I'm thinking like how fun.
It was really fun. And it really just helped me carve out time away from a lot of just like pressures and a lot of expectations. And again, that productivity mindset of like, I can't just sit, but when I'm on a date, I can just sit and I can just make something and try new things. And I would try to do landscapes, which is not something that I ever do. And I was like, this is really hard. I don't know how to do this. And then I would just like pivot to something else. And I would trace the shadows of all the grass around me. And I just like got to just exist exactly as I was. And sometimes I would fall asleep. And
That's so good.
it was
I
really
love
nice.
that.
And I just needed rest and I needed just a space to create and just be myself. And that really helped me a lot. I did that often. And I felt different after each time I went on a little date with myself.
So cool.
And just like getting to know myself a little bit more. Yeah, I'd say that changed me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I love that you do that. And I think for me, the first time that I would categorize my experience as dates with myself is when I started traveling alone.
Like that.
And
yes, that's a good one.
It was when I first realized how magical traveling alone is.
Yeah.
Because first off, if you're, the listeners out there, if you have children, your trip no longer belongs to you. It's very much like what they're looking for and like managing meltdowns and like timelines and like, the arguing between siblings. It's just chaos from morning to night. But what was really cool was this reprieve from the everyday living that allowed me to reflect. So I'll give you an example. I got to travel. Oh my gosh, it's almost been 2 years since my travel to Newfoundland. And I got to go for a recreation therapy conference. I was the speaker there for their conference, Newfoundland Labrador Therapeutic Recreation. Anyway. So association, I am losing my words, but what I'm trying to tell you is that I got to go to Newfoundland and it was all work until the Saturday, and I rented a vehicle and I took myself across the island by car and just checked out like iconic spaces that maybe people who live there know of them all the time, but to me it was brand new, and I really led with wonder. And there was a really emotional moment where I was playing my favorite music in the car. So the other thing I'll say is when you're going on dates by yourself, you don't have to pretend or do things that other people would like you to do. You can just literally do what you want. And so I put Ani DeFranco on and I was listening to like my favorite music and would just start crying. I was just like bawling uncontrollably, and the gratitude that came to me just by sightseeing alone. There was a lot of reflection.
Yeah.
That was a life-changing moment. So I agree. I think, and now I do it more often.
I like
where
that.
Just go wander and see where you get lost.
Can I have a second answer to your question? Because you're just sparked mine. And then thinking of the first, I think what of all these like self dates led up to was a big hike I took and like traveling alone and just,
I inspired you. You didn't even know.
I didn't even, and
so
then
my trip to Newfoundland inspired
I
you.
didn't even meet you yet. And yeah, it inspired my thing.
Okay. So what was this trip like?
I was super privileged to be able to just like save some money, and I took myself on a self-guided hike in Switzerland, and I
Come on.
hiked. It was like it's a pilgrimage that had been around for like many years. I want to say 500, but I don't know if that's accurate. Please don't quote me. Don't quote me. It was called Via Spluga, and it was between the mountains. And I just really love mountains. I'm very drawn to them. Yet I live around 0 mountains. But there's just something about a mountain that just like I feel like you're just able to it holds things for you.
I feel the same about the fjords that are in Newfoundland.
Like
I saw them and I was like, these are my things, but I don't live near any of them.
It's very magical. And I did a 4-day self-guided hike. So I did like 8 hours of walking every day.
Oh my gosh.
It was hard, but it was really cool to do hard things. And I was just by myself, and then I met people and I just explored. I got to explore and be curious about an environment I hadn't been in. And I was able to build trust with myself that I could just like navigate something by myself, and I could do hard. Like I'd never walked 8 hours a day for 4 days straight.
How did you feel after that?
I felt, I don't think I could have put it into words at that time. I think I was you're just doing. And then now I think I can reflect on it. And it really helped me build trust in my body, which is always something that I just never had a very trusting relationship with.
Right.
And so I felt different in my body and in my skin. I just felt more confident. I think traveling alone lets you just feel more confident. And just
So true.
Not even traveling alone, because I think traveling just comes with a lot of privileges and is not something that's accessible for everyone. But I think exploring alone.
Exploring. That's a
and
good
like
one.
allows you to explore discomfort, because traveling is not comfortable. Exploring is inherently really uncomfortable and scary.
Yeah.
But
A lot of firsts.
so many firsts, but then you get to navigate all that and say, okay, I did it all. I was creative. I had to come up with so many creative solutions when you like have no data and like you're just like in a random place.
I have stories that I could sit you at this table for days and tell you about my solo traveling that has led me into unsafe spaces
but then you like survived it and you did it and you're like, oh shit, that was really dicey right there.
Shout out to my homie Jerry who's out there somewhere. I had someone stalk me.
Oh.
And I don't mean that as a funny thing. It's funny in retrospect because the situation, I don't know, I guess it's not funny, but it is funny because I got to this space. So I was trying to be really cheap. I was like, like, listen, traveling's not easy. It's expensive.
Yeah.
So I was trying to make some shortcuts. And so I got a hostel instead of a hotel.
Yeah.
And my first mistake was the hostel, not the hotel. And I sign up and I get in there and I'm in there. And this man named Jerry decides that I should be his friend. Anyways, long story short,
decided that.
Like, this is the creepy part of the whole story, is that it was premeditated because this guy had chocolates and roses already ready to go. And I laugh now because like I can laugh at the situation because nobody was hurt. But definitely I was proactive in the situation by like reporting it and doing all my due diligence. And I share the story because as a traveler who was doing this alone, it was really scary in the moment. Yeah. And I guess I'm sharing it just because I'm trying to make it funny from the fact that he was knocking on my door like every 5 minutes offering me a rose. And I was like, yo, Jerry, like, I don't need a rose.
Yeah.
But then he was like, hey, like, you should come live with me. And I was like, oh, Jerry, no, thank you. Like, I don't want to live with you. I have a husband. And then that was my cue. Like, I was like, okay, like time to find somewhere else. But shout out also to the recreation therapists that I didn't know that were in the city that I never met in my life that I was actually able to contact, and they got me refuge and helped me. So
community.
Yeah, community.
Good community.
So full circle there.
Yeah,
so anyway, so if you are traveling alone, it is fun. But you do need to, there's no price on safety.
Yeah,
and
protecting
I've learned
yourself and taking care of yourself the whole time. As like nuance and adventure is really fun, but then like being able to balance that. I didn't mean to take a dark turn there, but I think it's like all part of like, I think going into being like not all leisure is fun. It's not, and the goal is not fun. And I think that can sometimes be, you think like leisure, you think play, and that's like fun. But sometimes it makes you like challenge a bunch of other things. Like you have to practice boundaries, you have to practice like safety, like all of these things.
Many things. Logistics, procedural planning. There's so much that goes into travel.
A lot of practice.
Also, being aware of your surroundings. I'll tell you another fun story. A few weekends back, I did what you did, and I like went and traveled to Toronto, and I actually like got reacquainted with neighborhoods I've never stepped into. And so I was so excited that I posted on Facebook that I had done all this walking in Toronto, and I told everyone I'd walked 20,000 kilometers.
28,000 kilometers.
20,000 kilometers. So someone writes on my post and says like, wow, you would sure have done a lot of walking today. And I said, yeah, I have. And they were like, but you mean steps. And I was like, damn it. I really wish having 20,000 kilometers, but in
one day. On foot.
You're just like going so fast in the city.
Don't know what 20,000 kilometers brings you.
Exhaustion. That's what it brings you. Anyways, so.
Okay. Now can I ask you, because that was one question.
Okay, fine. You want to ask me a question?
I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
In what ways is play showing up in your life currently? And this actually has a part 2 question. What aspects of your life could use more elements of play? Do you want me to repeat the question?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So wait. So actually, so where is play currently showing up?
Yeah.
Oh, I love these questions because they really help me realize that I don't play enough. I think I do. And I'm trying more than I've ever tried before. Like for those who are following our socials, you'll know that I am on this like this journey where I'm doing my own 12-week rec therapy plan, but to keep it, so I'm not just, yelling at myself. I did hire on an incredible psychotherapist to help me do some psychodynamic therapy. And one of the things that we've been working through together is how to slow down. And through my exploration on that, I've realized that I'm not playing enough where I thought I was. Anyway, to answer your question, I think currently play is showing up for me as a musician. Again, I haven't written a song in 12 years. So I'm really trying. I bought myself a Taylor. I just went to the store and bought myself a new guitar because I thought, you know what? Like, I'm worth it. I deserve this. And so I've been playing guitar, like literally playing.
Yeah.
But, and you can make fun of me. I'm trying to do less electronics.
I would never make fun of you. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
I'm just gonna
thanks. But
clear that, but continue.
I'm trying to do less electronics, but there is like this kryptonite I've got.
Oh.
Has anyone ever heard of, I'm going to just open my phone for a minute. There is a game. I'm not a huge like phone gamer. I
Yes.
love games though. Like, oh my gosh, I love the
Like
Nintendo
tabletop?
Switch.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Like Donkey Kong, I've beat twice. Like you can't even go against my time because I've already done that lap like 4 times where you get to go back and beat your time. I can't. Oh, I love Donkey Kong and Mario Kart.
I've played some Mario Kart. I recently played Overcooked. That was fun.
Okay.
That was good. Everything was on fire. I'm not good at them. I'm not very good at them, but I have a great time and I'm very positive. I love playing games.
I know, me too.
Just having a great time.
So there's this like online game called Find Out.
Oh.
And it's I Spy.
It's I Spy?
I Spy, but it's like Where's Waldo, but like moving characters. It's animation.
Oh,
and
fun.
it's so fun.
That sounds fun.
So I know I'm not supposed to be having my phone attached to me as often anymore, but I have been finding reprieve in sitting down and putting my feet up and playing I Spy.
I love that. I feel
Thank
like it's
you.
different than the endless scroll.
I do not endless
Right?
scroll. I've
It's
been
play.
stopping myself.
Yeah.
And then I go and I Spy. So that's where play is showing up. Also trying to connect more with my children.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to lie, I don't know if this is common. And I know you don't have children.
No.
But you do work with youth
Sometimes, yes.
sometimes. We can be honest on this podcast.
Yeah.
I have a hard time sometimes. Oh my God, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. Let's just say with my children. Sometimes they'll be like, let's do this. And I'm like,
Like
I don't want to do that. And so more particularly like when the kids were younger and my daughter wanted to play like dollies or something, it was
Yeah.
really hard for me to want to play dollies because I had zero interest in playing dollies.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to learn how to meet them where they're at and find interest in their likes.
Yeah.
And I know like where I say like, I hope I don't get in trouble for this because we honor that here at JJRT and I truly do a good job of it professionally. But personally, I need to work better at that where my kids are like, I love this. And I'm like,
That sounds terrible. I
right?
don't.
Like, oh, okay, well, go have fun with that.
Yeah,
and I
just
think
like-
there's more of an acceptance at home to be like, well, I do that all day at work. I accept. I hold space. That at home, I'm literally like, no,
Yeah,
I don't
I
want
just
to
wanna
do
do
that.
what
I
I
just want to do what I want.
Yeah.
So I've been really trying to say, like, ask my kiddos, like, what are you into right now? Like, what brings you joy? What makes you happy? And then their happiness has been filling my happiness. And then I'm playing more with their ideas and thoughts.
Yeah. So like less about the actual activity you're doing and more about leaning into the part that brings them joy. And then that fills your cup. The part that fills their cup, because then that fills your cup.
Yeah. Or just doing the thing that they love.
Just leaning into
And
it.
leaning in.
Yeah.
I'll share something that I do love to do with them, but every time I think of it, it legit brings so much happiness to my heart. So my littlest is 9, turning 10 in 2 weeks.
Double digits.
I know. And we went on the Rixicle. And if anybody doesn't know what the Rixicle is, we brought it home and my kids love the Rixicle. So any listeners out there, if you don't know what the Rixicle is, go on our socials and find out. It's this really cool accessible bike that we have at JJRT. And every once in a while, I treat my family to a ride because it's so fun.
I like it. Wait, can you explain like how it's accessible? Like how does
Yeah,
it,
so it's like a couch. So it's a tricycle, but what's really cool is it's built like a paddle boat. So each foot pedal maneuver side is operated by the person. But here's the cool part: if the person needs to rest, they don't have to pedal. Like the person can operate it on their own. And what's really cool is it has all these attachments for accessibility. So people in wheelchairs can get into this bike. People who might have like muscular dystrophy and might not have use of their muscles as much as they used to, their motor skills, we can strap their feet in so that they get the movement, but they're not actively pushing. So we're still moving their body, which is just super cool. So I take this Rixicle over to my home, and my daughter, my youngest, loves it. Like, I can't even tell you, I get asked all day long, like, when are we going for a Rixicle ride, right? And so we're going down this hill. We love a thrill. And we're going down this hill, and we're going fast. This thing can pick up speed. Like, I think we're at like easily 25 kilometers an hour. We're going down hills. Yeah, it's so fun. And her hair is literally like flapping in the wind. And she looks over at me and goes, yay. And it was that moment where I was like, cannot, like, there's no way in hell that I'll ever be able to bottle that up, that feeling where she was, like, my eyes are watering because she was true bliss. And we have this thing where we talk like that to each other, where she's like, is it bedtime, Mom? And I'm like, I don't know, is it bedtime? And so that's another way we've been playing, is leaning into those funny moments that are, like, most people out there are like, that is ridiculous. But I think in those ridiculous spaces, vulnerability shows up, and vulnerability allows us to be authentic, and then it lets us let out that armor. And anyways, was such a like, I did it. Like, as a mom, I was like, I just tapped into her happiness. Yeah. So that was really cool.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that very much. And just like saying yes and like seeing where that leads. And it's like maybe before when you're like, just go home from work, you're like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to like couch rot, which is like so valid. But like when we say yes to things,
couch rotting.
I feel like I rarely like when I go do a thing and I'm like, I regret doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm actually really happy I said yes and like got out and like had a moment of joy. I'm just like,
I'm only laughing right now because every time after supper now, I've started this new thing where I'm like, okay, everybody, it's quiet time. And my kids are like, that is such a lame excuse for like couch rotting. You just want to go sit down and lay on the couch and play your I Spy game. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
It's quiet time. Okay. But, just to end this little question with what you said about my daughter, she's recently now started to thank me for being there. So I went for the walk. I went for the thing that I didn't want to do. Yeah. And at the end, she said, thank you so much for doing this with me. Oh. It made me so happy. And then I'm like, I am less of a shitty person because I followed through, right?
Yeah.
But they're teaching us lessons too. And I don't think you need to have children to be learning the lessons. Leisure is everywhere. Leisure is the tool that can teach us these things. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about Rec and Leisure.
Yeah.
Because it's available everywhere and it's free. It can be free. I think that's the thing. We get caught up. That's a whole other episode. But But I think if we realize that these moments are right in front of us, oh man, that's the magic.
And also just like the foundational tools of like silliness can open up leisure and like can open up more joy in our lives, and like leaning into just like being a little silly and like saying things in a funny voice, or like having like little bits. And
have you ever talked in that voice? Like, it's actually so liberating.
I mean, I know like the Batman voice being like, I'm Batman.
that's where they all started with.
That's good.
Yeah. Like, what's for dinner, Mom? And you can't not start that conversation without you breaking out in laughter. Like, I dare someone out there right now who can talk like that and not laugh. I dare.
I can't do it.
The best. Okay. Was there a part two? Did I answer it?
I think you did kind of answer it, but what aspects of your life could use more elements of play?
I mean,
so you can still,
everywhere, all the time. I think we're constantly learning. I hope we're all learning all the time. I use every opportunity as an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Like, I probably reflect more than the average person, 100%.
It's just like something you have to do in your job in your life a lot.
Yeah, but I like it. I
just fun.
love reflecting. Like, and I'm not like the type that has to go journal it. Like, I just love to reflect in general. Like, I have a conversation in my brain about what just happened, and I'm like, ooh, how did that make me feel?
Yeah.
Like, did I like it? What parts were good? What parts weren't? You know, swipe away the bad parts, bring in the good. I'm constantly like, my newest thing when I'm explaining how my brain works is like the control panel in a recording studio, and there's dials and controls and swipers, and like, it's like, you're in control of your life, and the choice is how you choose to show up is that dial. So like turning up one thing, but like dialing down on another, and every day is an opportunity to tweak that and render. And like that for me is really exciting.
So sorry, I just want to clarify saying like control of your life, but more about the control about how you react to the things that are going on in your life.
Right. I guess we don't have full control, but like,
but how you're showing up.
how I show up
Yeah.
is my choice. And I choose to show up with that intention of like, what does my dial board look like? Like, how am I leveling up?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Or how are you dialing in?
Dialing in. That's what. Thank you. Good. Are you ready?
Sure, let's go for it.
Oh, this is so good. If rest is a radical act, how do you personally practice resistance through leisure?
If rest is a radical act, how do I personally
Practice resistance through leisure.
It's through leisure? It's a good question. It's a loaded question.
I know.
But let's try.
We have to make this episode as long as possible.
Let me think about how I use my leisure as resistance. Is that,
Like, how do you personally practice resistance through leisure? And you and I have had this conversation with our new merch that we're dropping very soon. Is the question, leisure is resistance, but to what? And that's going to look different for everybody. So thinking about what you're resisting, what are you resisting, and how do you do that through leisure?
Well, that's a good question. It's a good question. I think I'm thinking about leisure differently now. I'm thinking about, I feel like it's a conversation I've been having with a lot of people in my life of just being more intentional about what I say yes to and what I say no to, and say that I could say no to things, and what does community look like. And I think a lot of those things before for me was proximity, what other people told me leisure was, or like it was like I go to an event that was already someone else, like, do I even want to go? It was just an automatic yes, because that was the people that are in my proximity, and that was the expectation that I would go and I would show up to these things. And now I'm thinking about what I genuinely want to do, what actually fills my cup, because I used to think like, oh, just getting out of the house is good, being around people is good. But what if they're the people that drain my cup? What if they're people who after I leave, I'm just like so torment, like I have to just like
hungover.
Yeah.
The social hangover is so real.
Considering now of just like how much time it takes me to recover, and before I never really gave myself that recovery time. I didn't even realize it was draining me. I would get sick a lot. That was my only rest was when I was ill, because that was the only time I felt like I had permission to rest.
Yeah, I feel sad that was your experience.
Me too.
Yeah.
And so now the reflection of being like, so I said yes to a thing. I went there. What was that actually like? How much did it fill my cup? How much did it drain my cup? Would I want to go back there again? And like just giving myself more choice, and just like really trying to, I don't know, like assess how those environments and situations and people land in my body and make me feel, and trying to prioritize the ones that really fill my cup, and the ones that I felt joy. I felt genuine joy, and not like a forced joy, not because I just try to find joy in every situation I'm in, but the ones where I didn't really have to try and it was just joyful.
That is so good.
And so I think just being intentional and really reflecting on where I'm putting my body and what I'm exposing myself to, and like that I get to choose that.
I'm
And
happy for you.
Thank you. It's been 29 years in the making.
That's
okay to get there.
That's
and
good.
It's a transition for sure, and it's not easy. And I've not done recently. I've not done things that align with me because I felt obligated to. And so it's a lot of like doing it, being like I would make a different choice next time.
Yeah.
But trying to like have compassion and grace with myself of being like, this is just going to be the learning process. And like, so hard to show up in the world in a different way, just like automatically. Like these things take time and we build and we learn.
Yeah.
And that's just the practice.
It is. Well, everything's a practice. And I think we have to experience these things so we know. And if we are evaluating and reflecting, we can say, that didn't serve me.
Yeah.
And it can take years. So my like where I see that relevance to your story is like, I used to drink a lot because that was expected from a musician. It was like sex, drugs, rock and roll, baby, right?
Yeah.
So like we traveled and we toured and like that was the socially acceptable way to do things.
Yeah.
Was just to get slammered. And then like it would happen time and time again. And eventually I was like, I don't even really like drinking.
Yeah.
And it became this thing where I was like, this is not even who I am. Like, and it took many years because practice, right? And becoming comfortable in situations where you are strong enough to say, I don't want to be a part of that anymore, and to walk away and to relearn what leisure looks like when you're not partaking in the thing that you're so comfortable with. So like living a sober life or learning how to drink less really took time to figure out what that looked like from a leisure perspective. And like now, now that I'm like full mom mode, full living that life, it's easier. But like I've said for years that I want to create a program, a leisure education-based program for women who overnight find out they're pregnant and their identity changes literally
So radically.
radically.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute you might be drinking, smoking, going out partying, bar hopping. That's fun. It's a good time, but not when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like for somebody,
Totally. Well,
But
I also
anyway,
think like, how does your community change?
Everything changes.
When fun looks different for you.
Right.
When just like your life looks different, that means your community is going to also reflect
Everything.
that. And
Yeah.
so I feel there's just a lot of loneliness
Yeah.
and
So
like
much
when
loneliness.
when you're like, this isn't actually working for me, and so I need to make a change, then there's grieving. You have to mourn and you have to grieve what that change looks like, because the whole point is the change. And so that means it's going to look different. So you can't carry everything through, and like what parts are the ones that you need to prioritize and like adjust. And like that comes with a lot of loss.
I love that you mentioned that, because we don't talk a lot about where grief can show up. We always think about grief as associated with only death, but grief is like the ending of anything.
Yeah.
And there has been lots of grief in my life with my identity, my choice of leisure, who I associate with. And like, I went on the whole tangent of drinking, but like while you were speaking, one of the things that kept coming to my mind is even, and you had mentioned it, was the proximity or the social groups that community that we are a part of, right? And to actively make a choice that you no longer want to be around certain community members. Hard. That's hard, especially when some of our closer friends are still associated with those. It's just very nuanced. And I think it takes a lot of bravery. And what we talk a lot about at JJRT is building core values. And that becomes our moral compass.
And how you have to like show up with your values
have
every
to
day,
show up with your values.
and make really hard choices to make sure that those things are
But
aligned.
that's what authenticity is.
Yeah.
We can live our truth and be authentic when we truly live our values.
But that comes with a lot of loss.
A lot of loss.
Because you have to say no to things that you otherwise wouldn't have, which means you're going to, I think when you live authentically, it means, this is a hard thing that I'm trying to learn right now. It's just like, not everyone's going to like you.
No.
People might actively...
I'm in recovery from being a people pleaser.
Yeah. It's
like, I want everyone to love me, and it's just not happening.
Survival mode. That's like a very... it's something that can serve you really well in a certain time of your life, and then at some point you're like, this isn't serving me. I'm actually like, I don't even know who I am anymore, because I just keep wanting to make everyone else okay and happy, and I'm miserable and uncomfortable, and I don't even know what my life looks like anymore, because I have to because it was designed by other people.
Oh, I know. I love. Yeah. Wow. This is so good.
It was great. We got. I feel like we got to a good place.
Do you have another question?
I do.
I have one more too, and I really want to get to it.
Okay.
But I don't want to take away your question. first.
No, I wanted to rethink this question. So actually, please ask me your question. Wait, it's actually your.
Is it? No, I asked you about resistance.
That's a good point. It is my
But
turn.
this one's really good.
Okay,
And-
then continue on because I wanted to rethink my question.
Okay,
Continue.
so talking about grief associated with death, it's such a good segue for my next question.
Okay.
What do you hope people say about you at your funeral?
Oh.
I was just having, I didn't even, like, the reason I asked this question is because yesterday, don't tell me your answer. I'm just going to talk over your answer.
I want to hear.
But
Thank you for that question. Now please tell me your answer to the question that you asked.
let me answer the question. So thank you for that question,
Here's my question
Jessie.
for you. Let me go first.
So yesterday, my oldest daughter and I, we have very dry, dark humor. Like,
Yes.
she's 12, and so what's really cool about her is that she truly understands the art of dark humor. And so yesterday we were having a bit of like a real argument, and then it turned to, we have this really sick thing we do.
I think I know exactly what you're going to say, but please continue.
We have this thing where if we're fibbing to each other or doing anything that's not aligned with the truth, we say, if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow and die, would you be okay with the way you feel right now, like knowing what you've said to me?
I've heard this interaction.
I know.
And then you explained it to me afterwards, and I was like, okay.
But
I
the
was like,
kids will say something to me where I'm like, did you do that? And they're like, no, I didn't do it. And I'm like, are you telling me the truth? Yes, Mama, I'm telling you the truth. And I said, so if I got hit by a bus tomorrow and I died, you would feel good about telling, okay, fine, I did this. And I'm like, right? So
Yeah.
anyways, it had come kind of to that. This argument had spiraled to like, if I die tomorrow, and then it got even darker where my daughter and I started to say, here's what I would say. This is your obituary, Mom. And so it got to the point where we were laughing so hard because she said, hi, everyone. So I'm here today to talk about my mom. And then she was like, yeah, there's really not much to say. We were just being so rude. And I was like, here lies my daughter who lies. And like, we were just like going on and
Just
on.
how would
And-
you do a roast as a...
Right,
as a,
while we were alive. So
yeah.
then when we were thinking about questions for each other, I was like, actually, thinking about funerals and obituaries, what is something that you hope people would say to you at your funeral? And you can answer now.
Okay. My turn. I just think of someone who I listen to a lot. Their name is Alok Vade Menon, and it was a podcast that I was listening to with them on, because I do that a lot, and I have used their words a lot to help me understand myself better, and I'm very grateful for the words that they use. And they said once when someone asked them this question, Alok tried their best, and it was just that.
You just literally gave me goosebumps from my head to my toes.
It was such
They
it
tried
stayed
their
with me.
best.
They tried their Benji tried their best. And
all
I feel
we
like
can
that's
ask for.
all we can do. That's literally all we can do is just try our best and just try to like show up. So I will borrow Alok's words and say tried their best.
I think you do, though. And again, you and I have some really great conversations. That's why you're such the perfect co-host, because off camera and off
We have a lot of good
microphone, we have some really, really intelligent, I like to think they're intelligent conversations, but that get me thinking for weeks on end. And where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, trying our best.
Yeah.
But if people really ask themselves that question,
What does that look like for them?
are we trying
Yeah.
our best? Because I honestly don't think that a lot of people are trying their best out there.
Yeah.
And it's not to say they can't. I don't think we're really showing up for ourselves as much as we could. I'm not saying
Trying
like,
is hard.
I know it's hard.
It's hard to try,
I know.
but I don't know another way to be. And I would never, I guess like that's my
I'm
directive.
not measuring
yeah,
best.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that your best has to be my best.
Yeah.
But I am saying that if everyone just got up and left the house, or you don't even have to leave the house. If you just woke up and opened your eyes and that was you doing your best,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I'm thinking
yeah.
about mean interactions, I suppose. There's so many hurt people out there.
Yeah.
And they project that hurt onto others. And it makes me sad.
Horrible hurt cycle.
Yeah.
I do think when we redefine what best looks like for people, we can give a lot more grace, because I do feel like there's this idea of
Oh,
what
that goes back to our capitalism.
Yes, absolutely.
You
Like
went
what
full circle.
is
Look
best
at
like
this.
40 hours a week, working your best for 40 hours,
Right.
like, and just rather like today I had one spoon and I used it to like feed myself. And that was the best I did that today. I like took care of myself in the way that I could.
Yeah.
And like that can be trying your best and just.
I love this was full circle because I'm currently reading The Burnout Society.
Okay.
Don't ask me what the author's name is. I forget.
Okay.
But they're a thinker. They're a philosophical thinker of the late 20th century.
Okay.
But here's the thing. One of the things they talk about that aligns perfectly with what you're saying when we say we need to redefine best is they actually talk about violent positivity. And we've heard it with the toxic positivity.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that like blew me out of the water with my whole like, I need to learn how to slow down so I can be better. Everything is built around this need to be better, to do better. And that blew my mind when I thought what I was doing was really just for me, but was it for me?
Yeah.
Or is it for the society in which is conditioning me?
Yeah.
Right? And then it gets me to think, what does that even look like? Like, why do I want to be better? Do I need to be better? Am I already perfect the way I am?
Like, not enoughness.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
just like everyone has their own not enoughness.
And
it's just so I have to be better because I'm not enough as I am. And it's just like that over and over and over again in so many different packages.
So many.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask the last question or what are we wrapping up?
I feel like that was the I don't want to end on this question. It was like
This one that I asked was a beautiful wrap, and I didn't even do that on purpose.
Oh, great job.
It's just magic. I know.
we just
Thank you.
lean into the process and we get
you.
somewhere good.
Well, shall we go into our closing ritual?
Yes.
All right.
A
Well-
ritual that we are just doing right now because it's actually
Yeah, I guess this is just...
Is it a ritual if we've never done it before?
Yeah, it is. Because I said so. Listen here. Semantics. Is it?
This is
Well,
our
it will
ritual
be.
in workshop. This is our workshop ritual.
We're trying it out for size.
Let's see how it goes.
And so I thought we could end every episode by asking, leisure is living because. So, Benji, leisure is living because.
Because it reminds us we're human, not machines.
Is that your real answer?
No, that's the one we have on the script, and I don't know if it's like sitting well with me.
And your face said it all. You're like, I don't know if
I'm like, I don't know if that's leisure is living.
your face said
Okay.
it all. You're like, no, this is
Like, I
not
didn't like
why.
it. I didn't like it. It
Tell
didn't
me,
sound-
tell me for real. What leisure is living because?
Leisure is living because leisure is being.
Sorry, I'm so laughing
Did that work?
at your face. Well, we're not.
You can see when something does not align.
We're not machines. You're questioning
That
everything.
came out so hard.
Oh my god.
Leisure's living because leisure is being. Leisure's breathing. Leisure is, leisure is being.
Being.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Does that sound
To be.
more to be? Leisure is to be. Leisure is to.
Oh, you know what? Yes, I agree. And it reminds me of a chef of mine once said to learn how to be and not do. To be. 'Cause
Yeah.
we-
Yes. That.
Right? So that's what it reminds
Leisure is
me of.
being, not doing.
But we would think the leisure is doing.
Because it's all about activities and this and this, but no, it's just being. It's just a space to be in.
It is a space. I love that.
Okay.
Okay.
We got there.
Well, we're going to be back next episode with our first surprise guest and a deep dive into how leisure shapes our relationships. But until then, we're going to slow down, stay curious, and remember, leisure is living.
Nailed it.
Thanks, Benji.